Story time about this girl who faked being Latina. So there was this girl who went to my school. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah is the queen of lies. In every subject we talk about, Sarah always, and I mean always, comes up with a lie that has to do with her life. Here's an example. What if we're talking about Tom Holland? She'd just come in and say, oh yeah, Tom Holland is my dad's friend. I met him once. You know, these types of lies. Another one is when she told everyone she's Latina. It was lunchtime in school, and we were talking about where we went for the summer. Sarah tells us that she went to Spain, and she started telling us on what she did there, and says that she's 50% Latina. She also said that she lived in Spain for 6 years, and if there is any person who lived in Spain for 6 years, they must know how to speak Spanish. And then my friend Kayla asked her, what does good morning mean in Spanish? We all know it's buenos dias. My friend Kayla asked Sarah, what does good morning mean in Spanish? And then Sarah looks at us, looks back at her food, and said, I don't know, I'm still taking Spanish lessons. And we just look at her, that she doesn't even know what good morning means in Spanish. If she had lived in Spain for 6 years, she would have known what it meant. I don't know how, but that incident has spread around the entire school. Every person that walks past Sarah just says, buenos dias, basically teasing her about not knowing what good morning means in Spanish. And then Sarah didn't show up to school for 3 days after that. And oh boy, we haven't even gotten to the crazy part. The 3 days pass, and Sarah comes back to school. As soon as she walks into the class, everyone's eyes was on her. She came up, sat in her seat, and this lady showed up to school. So after 3 days of Sarah not coming to school, she showed up in a crop top, skinny jeans, fake nails, and fake lashes. And her hair was in a bun with edges. Yes, you heard me, edges. This lady is white. And in lunchtime, she took out a bag of hot Cheetos and some dipping sauce. I don't know if this was supposed to make us think she's Latina, but trust me, it didn't work. All of the freshmen and sophomores took out their phone and started filming her. This is where I kind of felt bad, but she ran to the bathroom crying, and she just stayed there and didn't show up to any classes for the rest of the day.
Last night, I was lying in bed, and I realized something. You know when you hate your siblings? Yeah, we all do. And then you're like, oh, well, you're the adopted one. And you don't really mean it. It's kind of a joke. But, like, my brother's actually adopted. So, I'd be really mean if I went up to him and be like, oh, you're the adopted sibling.
Story time that happened in 2nd grade. So my teacher never allowed fidget spinners. And my friend always brought one to school, because that was the only thing that helped us focus. But every time she saw it, she would take it, and she would never return it, even though she said she was. So me and my friend, I'm gonna call her Jalen, and my other friend, I'm gonna name her Caitlin. So me, Jalen, and Caitlin all had this plan to sneak into school and take our fidget spinners. So at recess, we had this plan spot behind the tree, and we would all talk about it. This girl even didn't eat her lunch because her teacher took away her fidget spinner. Anyway, we all had this plan to sneak into school and break the windows, go in class and steal all our fidget spinners and give them back to the owners. But every time we talk about it, we'd get caught by this one kid named Nathan, and he would all go tell the teacher. But the teacher didn't care, obviously, because she knew we weren't going to do it. Like for part 2. Okay, part 2 of the fidget spinners. Okay, so as you know, Nathan was going to tell on us, and the teacher obviously didn't believe us because we were little kids and he knew we wouldn't do that. So we all had a plan that the next day we would all meet up at the playground in the school at 6 p.m. So that day, no one showed up. I didn't even show up. And the next day at school, we all got mad at each other for not showing up when we all said we showed up, but you guys didn't. And I didn't show up. My friend didn't show up. None of us showed up. But we just lied about showing up. So we just gave up and we just never did it again because we knew we would never get our fidget spinners. Tell me if you want more.
Story time about how my boyfriend's best friend tried to ruin our relationship. So a little background information.
My boyfriend used to be best friends with this one girl. We're gonna call her Jamie. Well, Jamie and my boyfriend were best friends for years, and the friendship was more flirty than anything. Well, him and I got to know each other during track season, so we were always hanging out after school, and sometimes Jamie would be there too. Well, the one night him and I were on FaceTime and we were talking about how we really liked each other. So the next day we started dating, and I was good friends with Jamie too. Then after we started dating, she started acting really weird towards me. Like, I would try to say hi whenever I saw her in the hallways, and she would just give me a dirty ass look. So then I told my boyfriend how I thought that she was really mad at me, and he said that he would talk to her. Well, a week before him and I started dating, she told us that there was this guy that she really wanted to ask to prom, and she said that she liked him for a while. Well, then my boyfriend said, apparently a few days ago you were hitting on the boy that she was going to ask to prom. So then I started to connect the dots and I was like, oh shit. Like for part 2 about how my boyfriend's best friend tried to ruin our relationship. So like I said, I started to connect the dots after that. And then I realized that she was talking about my boyfriend. We're just going to call him Josh. As he's telling me this, I immediately get a FaceTime call from her. So I answer the phone, and she says, well, I think I should just confront the situation now. So the first thing that she says is, you knew I liked Josh. Like, how could you do this to me? I had a poster board and everything. So I'm just like, well, why didn't you tell me that you liked him? And she goes, what the fuck do you mean? Like, you knew. But I was sitting there thinking about the fact that they were best friends for 5 years and nothing ever happened, so it's really not my fault. And then this girl has the nerve to say, I'm pretty sure if you just break up with him now, me and you can get past this and still be friends. So I said no. So then I called my boyfriend, told him that we talked it out, and I didn't even tell him about what she said or anything like that, because I just wanted the situation to be over and done with. So a few weeks after that, she decided to get her brother involved. Her brother and Josh were best friends, by the way. Well, then her brother told Josh that him and I had been hooking up like for part 3. Part 2.